Today I want to talk about tantra. Most of us heard of tantra. But for those of you who haven't heard of tantra, I will try to explain it in a way that you can understand it. But only understanding is not enough. Tantra is a way of living. So by understanding or by thinking, you know what's tantra because you have heard about it, you have watched content about it, you read about it. It's not working that way. Tantra has to be lived to be experienced. You cannot just read about tantra and say, okay, I know tantra. That's not possible. In most cases, you heard about tantra in associate with sex. But tantra is way beyond that. Tantra is just a totally new way of looking at this world, new way of looking at this whole way of living. Tantra perhaps is the only religion that has accepted sex. There is no other religion that accepted sexual activity and sex as something divine. It's always evilish. It's always, if you do it, you will be in trouble. If you do it, you will rot in hell. But Tantra, on the other hand, embraces sex and says, not only if you do it, you're fine. If you do it right, you will become enlightened. That's Tantra in a nutshell. If you do participate in sexual activity, do it right. A true man meditates. A true man needs to meditate to become true. And tantra is the only meditation can save a man's life. Woman, they're already enlightened. They don't need much. They need just a nudge and they will figure things out. But a man is far, far away from enlightenment. Now, somewhere around 2000 years ago, 2500 years ago, perhaps even 3000, 5000 years ago, there is this disciple that seeks enlightenment. In India, from one master to another master. And eventually he becomes a great sage. Eventually all the masters know that this guy is going to become enlightened. But one day, this guy goes to the market and he meets a woman. In that time, he has been living all his life without encountering any woman. He was just pretty much a monk. All his religion was forbidding him to come in contact with woman. But this guy falls in love in one sight. During that transaction, he falls in love. And everything led to another. He leaves all his practices, all his monkhood, and goes with this woman. The story goes on until they bring news that this guy is gone crazy. But in fact, he became enlightened by listening to that woman. Tantra is the way of woman. Tantra is all about listening. Tantra is all about doing it with meditation. Tantra is a love story. A man's love story. Not a woman's love story. Most of the love stories that you've been hearing so far is woman's love story. It's the modern way of love story. It's hypersexualized. Because women crave sexuality. Women crave intimacy. Women are great at creating the environment. If you look at the modern way of love stories, movies, you will realize that most of these scripts have been written by women. Rarely you can find regular love stories, TV shows that is written by men. A man's love story is commitment. A man's love story is dedication. A man's love story is beyond the intimacy. A man's love story is extreme. It's Gladiator. Everyone watched that movie. That's a love story. You will not find much of it there. Most of it is fight and death. But that's where a man's love story lives. A man's love story is his devotion to feminine energy. If you understand this, you crack life. If you understand that your life only become complete if you look for that love story. There are many ways to become enlightened. Tantra is for sure one of them. And I would say it's the easiest way to become enlightened. Because all other ways, you need to block 6. And in that blockage, you will find yourself that you live in sex all your life. But Tantra transforms that sexual energy into life force energy. Tantra helps you to understand sex, to participate in sexual activity with grace, with intimacy, with long-lasting relationship. And above all, with love. Love is the way of Tantra. And not only toward woman, love toward this universe, this existence that gave you everything you need to become enlightened. And you chose not to walk on that path because it's hard. But then Tantra comes and tells you, look, why don't you start loving? It's very simple, very easy. Why don't you start loving? Why don't you just practice loving? Why don't you practice unconditional love? Why don't you put away all your mind and participate in this sexual experience with meditation, with grace, with oneness? Tantra is that oneness in that sexual activity. That's how things work. Your sexual activity is not oneness. Your sexual activity is ugly. Your sexual activity is only for the end result, not the process. Your sexual activity is a masturbation for your mind. Nothing more. So quick, so stressful, so anxious, so many kinks, so many fetishes, so many ideas in your head, so many faces in front of you instead of your partner, instead of the person that you are sleeping with, so many other bodies, all in your head. The perfect body, the perfect face. You look at your partner, you don't see your partner. You look at your partner, you see whatever you want to see in your head. Now Tantra is the awakening in your sexual activity. And if you do this right, by and by, awareness enters to your life through your sex center, awareness enters in your life through your sexual energy, and that's all matters. Sexual energy. Everything is sexual in this universe. All existence is sexual. And if you understand that you need to be able to become sexual, to become loving toward this existence, you're not going anywhere. Beautiful sun trying to tell me perhaps talk less. Why are you even talking about these things? No one listens. No, they will listen. Modern man is a poor man, very poor. Diluted with so many bullshit, so many nonsense. And he is so entertained with all these video games, TV shows, that does not need to think about love stories. I mentioned about the movie Gladiator as an example for a man's love story. Maybe I should give an example of a woman love story movie as well. That would be a good comparison, I suppose. There is this movie called Holiday or The Holiday or whatever. I think Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz. Jude Law and Jack Black. Yeah, I think I'm giving a great reference here. You watch that perhaps. There's nothing manly about this movie. Even even in men, if you look at the movie, if you observe, you will realize that everything in that movie is designed feminine. And that's where you want to live your life. That's where you want to experience this life. If you do that, your sex transforms. Your sexual activity transforms. Now you're not there for the end result. Now you're not there for that orgasm. Now you're there to experience this union. Now you're there to experience the celebration of life, when the feminine and the masculine meet. Where the boundaries dissolve, when everything just comes together to create an orgasmic experience, not orgasm. These two things are different in the modern world. Orgasm is a masturbatory act. Orgasmic experience, on the other hand, it's a moment that you live. It's a moment that you become blissful. It's a moment that you become one with this existence. You need to understand that if you really want to awaken yourself, you need to seek it. And one of the easiest way to seek awakening in life for a man is to seek it from a woman. I cannot emphasize this more. We live in a world that so much of your brain is consumed by pornography. Not that your brain is consuming pornography, no, the other way around. Your pornography is consuming your brain. Because your sex is all about porn. Your sex is mediocre. Your sex is nonsense. Porn perhaps is the most dangerous thing that exists on this planet. It kills everything. And even worse, it will lead you to isolation. Then men become comfortable with being alone for the rest of their life. They don't put up the fight for the love story. They don't want to become a gladiator. They don't have any juice in them. They're dried up. Don't be that person. Don't be that celibate. Don't put this shit in your head that I am a spiritual being, I am a spiritual seeker, so I should be celibate. I think I will let you leave soon by finishing up this video. However, we did not really cover much of anything. We didn't even get into the introduction fully. So far, we know nothing about tantra, at least in this video. But perhaps the introduction was sufficient. Honestly, fix your sex life, if you have any. And if you don't have any, put up the work for it. Don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable in being single. Don't get comfortable in having your own time. Because depression is just always there to embrace you. We remember that. And when depression embraces you, it gives you love. It gives you care. But that's not what you're looking for from depression. Depression's love and care is mediocre. Don't fall for it. I know you love yourself, you care for yourself, so you become depressed. And then you will stay that way for God knows how many years of your life, if not all of it, until you realize you did not live a lover story, you lived a lonely life. And don't get me wrong, this video is one way of reaching to that enlightenment that you have in your head, that awakening that you have in your head, that one aha day of your life that you become like completely free of your bondages, whatever it is. This is one way. Perhaps for you, you want to choose another way and turn your loneliness to aloneness. I don't know. But I'm just telling you that this way is much easier, much faster. Turning loneliness to aloneness requires hours of meditation, requires that monkhood. But the other way, tantra, it's like yes to everything. And what can be more beautiful than yes to everything? I think I will let you go.